Hi there, this is Art and Such with my Rainbow Loom tutorial for Wesley, or the Man in Black from The Princess Bride, one of my favorite movies. And I'm also going to be making a Zorro video soon for you, Zorro tutorial, which is based on this. In this video we're going to make this chest area a little bit shorter, but I'll tell you how to keep this long if you want. And we're going to tighten things up around the legs here. For materials, you're going to need a great deal of black bands, some skin tone bands, a paper clip for the sword, and this is something I'm going to let you kind of fashion to your own like. And for the eyes, I'll be using a couple of round pearl-like beads, and I'll show you how you can do this with beads, or you can always use skin tone bands or beads of another color for the eyes. So we will be doing most of this on the loom. We're going to do the arms on the hook, and that's where we're going to start. Take 2 single black bands. We're going to wrap them 3 times onto the hook, and we'll be pulling this onto 2 sets of double bands. So 2 bands on the end of your hook, and you're going to pull your wrapped bands up and over, put the other end back on, and do this again. And now we're going to take another 2 and pull it through. But before we replace, we are going to be making 2 sets of muscles, and this is something I've seen on other loomers' designs, so this is not an original technique, but it works really well. We're going to take 2 bands with your left hand, or sorry, your right hand, your other hand, put them onto the end of the hook, and slide these 2 bands over. Do it really carefully. Put the other end back on, and we're going to put the other end on and slide 2 bands through this close side, so through the first 2 bands. And this is giving him a kind of puffy look for the sleeves. We're going to take another 2 bands and pull it through all of these, and then we're going to repeat what we did for the muscles. So leave one end off, take 2 bands and put them on the end, add a little tension if you can, pull your bands over, off the hook over, put the other end on, replace your left side, and we're going to put this through another 2. And then we're putting all of our arm pieces through 2 more bands. And this is going to be 1 arm, and then we'll make our second one. You can leave this just on the hook for now. And let me show you the last step here before we go into our second. You're going to take a single black and put it near the end of the arm, wrap it around the hand 4 or 5 times until it's nice and tight, and that gives it a sort of slender look at the end. Makes the hand stand out a little more. Okay, there's our 1 puffy sleeve. Let's make another. I'll do it a little bit faster for you. 2 black bands wrapped 3 times, pulled onto 3 sets of double black bands. Pull it over the first 2, put the other end back, over the next 2, put the other end back, and for the 3rd time, remember oops, I just broke 2 bands at once. That never happens. We're going to put it through, but we won't replace the other end. Instead, we'll hold the one side on the hook and pull that side over 2 black bands. Put those 2 black bands back. And for our near side, 2 black bands. This is the set of 2 on the left. Pull our 2 bands just through those left ones. 2 more bands. We're almost done. Bear with me here. Pull it through all 8 of your pieces, and we're going to put another 2 bands through this side and another 2 through this side, and then we're just about done here. 2 bands on the end. I'll add a little tension. Pull your bands off and over. Put those bands you're looping through back on, And grab a final two, place them through the two bands on your left, like so. And very last time, two bands going through all of the bands on your arm here. And we are gonna do a kind of a little tightening band at the bottom again. Take a single, pull it over the handpiece, turn it, twist it back on, turn it, twist it back on. You can do it one or two more times. Pull it down a little, and we are ready to turn to our loom. You're gonna put your loom in this position with the middle row just above the other two. And the open parts of your little horseshoe pegs here are open on the bottom side. We're coming down with double bands, using double bands for all of this. Double black bands from the top center to the top right, and from the top center to the top left. And we come down each row, each column, with two sets of double black bands. Then we need to switch to the skin tone for our face. So you'll put one set of double bands, two bands, from the third peg to the fourth on either side, and come down with two sets of double bands in the center, and that will bring you to your fifth or middle peg. Come from the fourth right to the fifth center with double bands, and do that again from the left fourth to the middle center, the middle fifth. Come down with two sets of skin tone bands in the middle, bringing you to your seventh peg down. And from here, we're going to put two black bands from your sixth peg in the center to your sixth peg on the right, and repeat that going the other way. And the order matters here a little bit, so watch carefully. We need now to put two skin tone bands from the seventh center to the sixth right on top of your black kind of shoulder bands here. And do that again, two bands, skin tone, from the seventh center to your sixth left. Now if you want the extended chest area here, you can add one more set of double skin tones right here, from your seventh peg to your eighth. I've decided to make it kind of a less skin showing there this time, so I'm switching to black now. I'm going down 3 times. Still all doubles. And on either side, we're going to go to the end of the loom using double bands. When you are ready, you can grab your armbands and take the ones off of your hook, place them on your sixth peg down on either side, right on top of those skin tones. We're going to make the legs now, and those are based on Isalicious Designs boots, and then we'll add those at the bottom here. So we're taking two black bands, wrapping them 2 or 3 times around the hook. You can decide how tight you'd like it to be. We're pulling this onto 2 black bands. Replace the end. Let's do it a second time. 2 black bands. Wrap twice. Pull them onto 2 bands, but don't put this far end on yet, because what we're going to do is pull one side over, like so. Put your finger in here, and we're going to switch, take it off the hook, so switch around to this side now. And then bring our last piece over. Put them together, and we're putting this onto 2 sets of double black bands. So 2 black bands. This is just because we can't fit our whole leg onto the loom right now. And 2, if you want your legs to be a little bit longer, you can even add an extra set here. Give it a little twist, a little turn, and put it at the bottom of your loom on one side. And I'm going to show you there's one other way that Kate Schultz does her boots. It has the same effect, but maybe it's easier for you, so you can either repeat what we just did or follow me here. Take 2 bands, wrap them twice, pull it onto 2 bands and replace. And here what we could actually do is take these 2 off, wrap 2 bands twice on the inside. So we've wrapped 2 more bands twice in the middle, and then put the end on and then pull this onto 2 bands. This is the same thing, just done in a different way. And now we're going to add 2 more sets of double bands. Again, this is to sort of extend our legs. And this goes on to the other side. Okay, try and turn that foot out a little bit if you can. Let's add our cap bands. We're using doubled over bands for most of these. The first band on the top can be a single, just here on the chest. So I'm counting down to the 7th peg on my loom. It's right in the middle. And we're going to go across and up over the middle. So it makes a triangle. For the 2 sets underneath, we're taking single black bands, doubling them over onto themselves, and creating triangles below. So there's one. Let's do it again. Twist it over onto itself and put it across right here. And we're gonna, like I said, I want to try and really get the sort of middle of the leg area here a little tighter. So I'm going to do 1 more doubled over band. I'm going to make a triangle here over that last peg that we used in the center, and then I'm going to pull it up and over. For our face, we'll be putting 3 doubled over bands, 2 skin tones and 1 black, and then we have our eyes to make. So take a skin tone band, double it over, put it from your 4th peg to your 4th peg, and raise it above the 4th in the center. And we're going to do that one more time, just in the spot above it, from the 3rd to the 3rd, doubled over band. Make a triangle, pull it above the middle, and this keeps it nice and tight and together. And then we're going to do a black band, double it over, put it from your 2nd peg to your 2nd peg. I'm going to show you how to make the eyes using beads. This technique is from Kate Schultz's Isalicious Designs as well, I believe. We're going to take a piece of dental floss or a thin wire and poke it through our 2 beads. If you have beads with larger holes, or if you're using bands, you can probably put them directly onto the hook. And if you're using bands, you need to wrap your band about 3 times for it to have the right thickness. We're going to pull our wire or dental floss through a black band and then turn it around and come back through the beads from the opposite direction. So I'm right-handed, I'm coming back from the right. I'm just trying to find the holes here. We'll poke it back through. And this part can be a little bit difficult, but it gets easier with experience, at least if you're having a good looming day. And you should be able to slide your beads directly onto the band now. This will go from your 2nd peg down to your 2nd peg on the other side. And we're just going to separate them a little bit with our fingers. You don't have to pull them over any of the other pegs. Okay, we are ready to loop. Let's start by coming up the middle, and we're going to come up to this peg where the skin tone starts. So carefully grab your bottom 2 bands, loop them up and over to the next peg, come up 2 more times. We're going to reach in for the top 2 skin tone in the middle and pull them to the right side, and it'll look nice and round and even if you've got it in the right place. If you haven't, put it back and try it again. Grab your next 2 and bring them to the left, and then we'll be coming up either side and looping the rest in the middle after. So go to the bottom on one side and push back your boots. Grab the bottom 2 bands and we're going to loop them up and over. And we're coming all the way up the side to the arm, pulling out all of our bottom bands through the bands on top. So here we have our tight side extension, or sorry, our tight capping bands holding triangles. Make sure you're pushing those back as you reach down for your bottom two. So if you pull those up, we won't have anything holding these in place. Now we have to find our two diagonal bands coming down here. So you might want to pull them to the side, turn your loom around a little bit. We're going to get underneath all the rest and just take those ones up, over, and around. Let's loop up the other side. Very same thing, we're getting under our foot and we're looping straight up, watching out for or pushing back all of the holding triangle bands. And get your shoulder piece here, last two black bands. Just turning this over to get a better grasp here. And be very careful, we have a lot of bands, so you want to ease it around. And now we're looping up the center ones, skin tone bands. And we're going to do it again, but go through the rest of the bands this time to get your bottom two skin tone. Grab your top two bands on that fifth peg down and pull them to the right side. And the next two go over to the left. And we're going to loop up each of the rows. Watch out for the bands that are holding your eyes when you get near the top. And I'm actually just a personal choice here. I'm going to loop up the middle row, the top of the middle row last. But you can do that first if you want. It's quite alright. I'm going to loop up the sides and come in diagonally. Watch out for all those eye bands. We have a lot here on that second peg. Come to the middle. And then we're coming up and inwards on the right side. Get your bottom two from underneath. Bottom two. And keep going. And don't forget, if you have left the middle for last here, to come back up and secure those last bands on top. We're going to take a single band, or two if you don't trust your bands. And with your hook, the open part of your hook facing away, you'll put it through the bands on the top center peg. Put your band on the end, pull it up, put your other end over, and we can bring one side over the other to create a slip knot. We have a lot of tension here, don't forget, because we've got some doubled over bands. So you'll probably want to loosen some of this up before you take it off. And you'll do this with the open part of your hook pointed away from you most of the time here, so that you aren't grabbing and tugging at the bands as you go. Okay, two more things to do. We are gonna turn our piece around. We're gonna tuck in our securing band. So this can be hidden under some bands at the back and just thrown onto a C-clip. Just trying to get a good hold of it here. I'm putting my hook under a couple of other bands so it isn't as loose here. This goes onto a C-clip, as I said, or you can leave it loose if you really want to. I'm going to pull the center another band just to hold in place. My eyes are kind of in funny places here, so what we need to do is pop up the black in the middle and push these to the side. And they should be sitting right over your black areas. And we're going to take a black Sharpie marker, or any kind of permanent marker here, and draw on two pupils, trying to make them kind of large so that it's really clear here. But you can do small ones if you prefer. Give everything a tug, a straight in, a rounding. And as I said, feel free to play around with some wires or paper clip or whatever you have at your disposal for your sword. And that can be stuck right through the hand. And you can even fit it into the side of his body if you want it to be like, there you go, like so. Okay, there you have it. There is our Princess Bride Wesley. Thank you for watching.